Four F-22 Raptors burst through the clouds at 30,000 feet, locking onto a lone civilian aircraft like wolves circling a deer. Unidentified aircraft, you're in restricted airspace. Descend immediately, or we will engage. Silence. Then, a woman's voice, calm, confident, surgical, cuts through the radio. She doesn't beg, she doesn't explain, she simply lists coordinates, cites obscure flight protocols, and ends with a name. One name. The lead pilot stares at his HUD, his hands frozen mid-command. That name wasn't supposed to exist. Copy that, Lightning Lead. Currently deviating around cell at bearing 270, returning to filed flight plan in approximately 12 minutes. Her tone carries no fear, no hesitation, just the kind of confidence that comes from thousands of hours in unpredictable skies. The response triggers something in the fighter pilots. Wingman Morrison's laughter fills the frequency. Lady, this isn't your Sunday flying club. You're playing with the big boys now. More laughter joins his, a pack mentality taking hold at 30,000 feet. Thompson's voice returns, dripping with condescension. Ma'am, I'm going to need you to comply immediately. You have 60 seconds before we force an escort to the nearest military installation. The King Air maintains its heading, steady as granite. Then her voice cuts through their mockery like a blade through silk. Major Thompson, badge 4721. I suggest you check with NORAD before you threaten Ghost Rider. The frequency goes dead. Not even static dares to break the silence that follows. If trained military pilots mocked you in the skies, would you reveal your true identity or stay silent? Tell us where you're watching from. Earlier that morning, Sarah Mitchell loads medical supplies into her King Air at a small Kansas airfield, her movements efficient but unhurried. At 40 years old, she wears her blonde hair in a simple ponytail, her clothes practical rather than stylish. No jewelry adorns her weathered hands, no makeup softens the lines that years of sun and wind have etched into her face. Other pilots at the field barely acknowledge her presence. She's just part of the landscape, as unremarkable as the fuel trucks and worn hangars. That's just Sarah, one pilot mentions to his student as they walk past. Flies cargo runs sometimes, medical supplies mostly. They don't see her pause at their words, don't notice the slight tightening around her eyes. She returns to her pre-flight check, examining each rivet and seam with the thoroughness of someone who knows that details save lives. The weather report shows building storms across her route to Montana, but nothing she hasn't handled before. Another pilot, gray-haired and weathered, watches her from across the tarmac. He approaches slowly, coffee in hand. Sarah Mitchell, he says quietly. Thought that was you. We flew together once, long time ago. Operation Desert Shadow. Sarah doesn't look up from her checklist. You're mistaken. Common name. The old pilot nods slowly. My mistake. Just thought, well, the way you pre-flight, exactly like Ghost Rider used to, but she's been gone 15 years now. Ghost Rider, Sarah's voice stays neutral. The legend who could vanish from radar, pulled off the Belgrade rescue? The old pilot's eyes sharpen. You know the stories. Sarah shrugged, securing a cargo strap. Everyone knows the stories. First woman to fly missions that didn't exist. 147 confirmed, 0 failures. Lost her wingman to friendly fire, testified against the brass, then vanished. She finally meets his eyes. Just stories, though. The old pilot studies her for a long moment. Jamie Rodriguez was a good man. Heard his daughter's learning to fly now. Something flickers across Sarah's face before the mask returns. Good for her. World needs more pilots. She climbs into her cockpit, ending the conversation. The old pilot watches her taxi away, certain but wise enough to keep his certainty to himself. The storm system builds faster than forecast, towering cumulus reaching toward the stratosphere like grasping fingers. Sarah adjusts her course, muscle memory guiding her hands while her eyes scan instruments and sky with equal attention. The F-22s appear on her radar before visual contact, 4 signatures moving in tactical formation. She recognizes the pattern immediately, expanded training airspace due to new NORAD protocols. Protocols she helped write in another lifetime. Lightning Flight, Major Thompson's squadron, represents the latest generation of fighter pilots. Hotshots fresh from advanced training, eager to prove themselves worthy of flying America's most advanced air superiority fighters. They see a civilian aircraft in their training space as an opportunity, a chance to practice intercept procedures on a real target. Sarah watches them approach, noting the aggressive angles, the unnecessary speed. They're showing off, treating the sky like their personal playground. Beechcraft. November 457 Charlie Mike. State your intentions. Thompson's voice carries the kind of bored authority that comes from never meeting real resistance. Sarah responds with textbook precision, citing her flight plan and weather deviation. The information should satisfy any professional pilot, but she already knows it won't. These boys want to play, and they've found their toy. "Ma'am, do you even have an instrument rating?" Thompson asks, his wingmen chuckling on the frequency. The lead Raptor swoops past her nose, close enough that the wake turbulence hits her aircraft like an invisible fist. A lesser pilot would have lost control. Sarah's hands move without conscious thought, adjusting trim and power to ride through the disruption like a surfer navigating a wave. Morrison joins the game, his Raptor sliding into position off her left wing. "Hey, Thompson thinks she even knows what she's looking at, probably thinks we're airliners." More laughter fills the frequency while Sarah's eyes track something they're missing entirely. The storm cells are merging, creating rotation patterns that spell disaster for anyone caught unaware. Lightning flight, recommend immediate weather check, cells are building faster than forecast. Her voice stays calm, helpful, the tone of someone offering friendly advice. Morrison's response drips with mockery. "Thanks for the tip, Grandma. Maybe stick to your crochet patterns and let us handle the flying." The other pilots laugh, but Sarah's trained eye catches what they're missing. The telltale signs of a microburst forming exactly where they're planning to resume their patrol pattern. The scene crystallizes in her mind with horrifying clarity. In 30 seconds, maybe less, these arrogant boys will fly directly into a wall of descending air that will slam them toward Earth faster than their systems can compensate. She sees Jamie's face in her mind, hears his voice from 15 years ago. "Sarah, something's wrong with the IFF. Those aren't enemy birds, they're..." The memory cuts off, where it always does, in fire and static. Her hands tighten on the yoke as she makes a decision 15 years in the making. Lightning flight, execute immediate climb to 40,000, microburst forming at your 12 o'clock, impact in 20 seconds. Her voice transforms, carrying command authority that makes radio operators across 3 states sit up straighter. Thompson starts to respond with more mockery, but she cuts him off. "Major, this is Lieutenant Colonel Mitchell, authentication code Tango Ghost 77. You have 15 seconds to climb or you're dead." The frequency explodes with confusion. A NORAD operator challenges her. "Ma'am, that's a discontinued code format." Sarah's voice turns to steel. "Challenge me. Authentication protocol Sierra 19er, and while you're wasting time, 4 pilots are about to die." The silence stretches like a held breath while computers process, databases search, and somewhere in a classified facility, alarms begin to sound. Have you ever witnessed someone completely underestimate another person? Share your story in the comments below. In NORAD's control room, a senior controller stares at his screen in disbelief. "Sir, you need to see this. Biometric voice print analysis just came back." His supervisor leans over, reads the data, and goes pale. "Run it again." The computer delivers the same result. "Ghost Rider authentication confirmed. Jesus Christ, it's really her." Morrison's voice cracks like a teenager's. "The Ghost Rider? The actual Ghost Rider?" Thompson tries to maintain control, even as his world tilts. "That's impossible. Ghost Rider died in that classified incident in Syria." Sarah doesn't waste time on their disbelief. The microburst is forming exactly as she predicted, an invisible hammer about to strike from above. Lightning 2, brake right now. Lightning 3, nose down then vertical. Lightning 4, follow my heading. Her voice carries the same calm authority that once guided damaged aircraft through impossible situations. "Major Thompson, you're going to lose all lift in 5 seconds. Trust me, or die." The F-22s warning system scream to life as the microburst hits. Thompson fights his controls as his aircraft suddenly weighs nothing, falling like a stone dropped from heaven. "I can't recover." Panic edges into his voice for the first time. Sarah's response comes instantly. "Stop fighting her. Nose down. Trade altitude for airspeed, 300 knots minimum." She guides each pilot through the chaos with surgical precision. Morrison, small inputs only. The young pilot's breathing comes in gasps, but he follows her instructions, his Raptor slowly responding. "Lightning 3, you're clear. Maintain heading 270. One by one, she talks them through survival. How do you know our systems? Thompson manages to ask as his aircraft finally stabilizes. Sarah's answer comes matter-of-fact. I flew the prototypes, Major. Now check your wingmen. The revelation lands like another blow. Radio traffic explodes across military frequencies as word spreads. Ghost Riders active? Confirm Ghost Rider sighting. Sarah ignores it all, focused on ensuring 4 young pilots make it home tonight. Thompson's voice returns, transformed. Colonel Mitchell. Ma'am, I'm sorry. The words hang in the air, but they're not enough for what's happening inside him. The mask of superiority he's worn for 8 years cracks like ice under spring sun. He thinks of every pilot he's mocked, every civilian he's dismissed, every moment he's confused rank with wisdom. His hands shake slightly on the controls, not from the near-death experience, but from the weight of recognition. Just Sarah now, Major. Check your fuel status. She keeps her tone professional, almost gentle. Morrison can't help himself. Ma'am, my father flew with you in Afghanistan, said you saved his entire squadron. Sarah's response stays brief. I remember Jimmy, good pilot. Thompson makes a decision. Request permission to escort you to your destination, she sighs. That's not necessary, Major. Like what? With respect, ma'am, it is. Thompson's voice carries something new. Genuine respect earned the hard way. But, more than that, it carries the sound of a man rebuilding himself in real time. As the 4 Raptors transition into escort formation, Thompson finds himself studying her aircraft with new eyes. The way it moves through the air with economy and grace, no wasted motion, no showing off. He realizes he's been flying angry for years, fighting the sky instead of working with it, using his aircraft as a weapon against his own insecurities. They fly in formation through the dissipating storm. After several minutes, Thompson ventures, Why did you really leave? Sarah considers her words carefully. See that break in the clouds, Major? He confirms visual contact. That's what saved you today. Nature showed you mercy. I left because I forgot that lesson once. Someone died because I thought skill could overcome arrogance. Thompson absorbs this, feeling the last of his carefully constructed identity crumble. 8 years of being the best, the fastest, the most aggressive. 8 years of confusing fear with respect, dominance with leadership. He thinks of his apartment walls covered in commendations, his social media posts about being elite, the way he's measured his worth in others' intimidation. All of it feels hollow now, exposed by a woman in a cargo plane who saved his life, without needing to prove anything. How do we learn that language? Morrison asks. Sarah watches the earth pass below. My grandfather was a crop duster. Used to say, the military will teach you to fight the sky, but first you need to learn to dance with it. Took me 20 years to understand. Thompson notices details he missed before. The way she anticipates turbulence, the unconscious scan pattern that checks everything with equal priority. Real pilots don't conquer the sky, Major, they negotiate with it. The Montana airfield appears on the horizon. The F-22s request flyby permission for a traditional military salute. Sarah's response comes firm but kind. Negative, Lightning Flight. Medicine doesn't need a parade. Thompson understands on a level that surprises him. The gesture would be for them, not her. Another performance, another show. He's done with shows. Copy that. Lightning Flight resuming the signed patrol route. Before breaking formation, he adds, Thank you. We won't forget this lesson. She clicks her microphone twice in acknowledgement. The fighters peel away, and Thompson feels something shift inside his chest. He removes his hand from the throttle and looks at it. Really looks at it. The same hand that's pushed aircraft to their limits to prove something that never needed proving. Tomorrow that hand will fly differently. Tomorrow he'll stop performing and start piloting. Sarah lands with the same quiet competence she's shown all day, immediately moving to unload her cargo. Media vans are already arriving, someone having leaked the encounter. She ignores them completely, focused on transferring medical supplies to the waiting clinic staff. A young woman approaches hesitantly, wearing a flight school jacket. Are you really Ghost Rider? She asks, her voice barely above a whisper. Sarah hands her a box of supplies without pausing. I'm a pilot who delivers medicine. The girl takes the box automatically. Together they work in silence, the young woman matching Sarah's efficient rhythm. Finally, she gestures toward the sky where contrails mark the fighter's departure. Those were F-22s. Sarah secures another box. They learned something today. The sky judges everyone equally. The student pilot absorbs this, helping load the last containers. I've been struggling with my training, the girl admits quietly. My instructor says I'm too cautious. Sarah pauses, really looking at the young woman for the first time. What's your name? Emma. Emma Rodriguez. The name hits Sarah like a physical blow. She keeps her expression neutral. Rodriguez, your father wouldn't happen to be... Emma nods. Lieutenant Jamie Rodriguez. He died when I was 3, training accident. Sarah closes the cargo door slowly, buying time to compose herself. Your father was the best wingman I ever flew with, Sarah says finally. Emma's breath catches. You knew him? Sarah nods, seeing Jamie's eyes in his daughter's face. Would you teach me? Just one lesson? Sarah looks at her king air, then at the eager young woman. The media crews are getting closer. She makes a decision that feels like destiny, completing a circle. Get in, Sarah says, climbing back into the pilot's seat. Emma scrambles into the co-pilot position. Sarah begins the startup sequence. First lesson, forget confidence. The sky cares how well you listen. The engine roars to life, drowning out the reporter's shouts. Sarah taxis past them without a glance. They reach the runway. Put your hands on the controls. Feel the aircraft. She's your partner. Emma's hands settle on the yoke. Close your eyes. Feel the vibrations. Emma closes her eyes, her face transforming as she stops thinking and starts feeling. Sarah watches, seeing Jamie's natural talent flowering in his daughter. Now open them. We're going to take off together. The takeoff is smooth, Emma's inputs small but confident. They climb into the Montana sky. See those clouds building to the west? Sarah points. Emma studies them. They're rotating, slowly, but there's definitely rotation at the base. Sarah nods approvingly. Your father could spot that from 50 miles away. It's in your blood. They fly for 20 minutes, Sarah teaching through example and gentle correction. As they begin their approach, Sarah lets Emma handle more of the controls. You're fighting her, Sarah observes as Emma overcorrects slightly. Remember, negotiation, not domination. Emma relaxes her grip and the aircraft responds immediately. That's it. Dance with her. The landing is Emma's, with Sarah's hands hovering near the controls but never touching them. The wheels kiss the runway with barely a chirp. Emma's face glows with achievement and understanding. As they taxi back, Sarah speaks quietly. Emma, what I'm about to tell you no one else knows. That day, your father spotted friendly aircraft with malfunctioning IFF transponders. He warned our flight, saved 3 pilots, but put himself between them and us. The brass called it an accident. But you deserve to know your father died a hero. Emma absorbs this revelation, her jaw setting with determination. Will I see you again? Sarah considers the question. Every Tuesday morning, I fly supplies to reservation clinics. Be here at dawn. Emma nods, understanding the gift she's being offered. What legacy would you want to leave behind? Drop a comment, and don't forget to subscribe for more incredible true stories. As Emma walks away, Sarah sees her stop to help an elderly pilot struggling with his luggage. No hesitation, no looking for recognition. She turns back to her truck, ignoring the reporters still clamoring for attention. Miles away, Major Thompson sits in his quarters, but he's not looking at the empty spot where his Top Gun patch used to rest. He's writing, in a notebook he hasn't touched since flight school, trying to capture what happened to him at 30,000 feet. Not the microburst, not the near-death experience, but the moment a woman's calm voice showed him who he really was versus who he'd been pretending to be. He writes about the difference between earning respect and demanding it, between confidence and arrogance, between flying and fighting. His handwriting is shaky at first, then steadier as truth replaces performance. Tomorrow, he decides, he'll visit a small civilian airfield he's driven past 100 times. Tomorrow, he'll ask someone to teach him about crop dusting. Sarah drives through the Montana evening, windows down, listening to weather reports on AM radio. But her mind is on Emma Rodriguez, on the promise of Tuesday mornings spent passing on knowledge that can't be taught in classrooms. She thinks of Jamie, of debts that can never be repaid, but can perhaps be honored through his daughter. Sarah's phone buzzes with calls she won't answer, messages she won't read. Let others tell the story, embellish it, transform it into something larger than life. She knows the truth is both simpler and more profound. Today she delivered medicine. Today she saved 4 pilots who almost died from their own arrogance. Today she found Jamie's daughter and began repaying a debt 15 years old. Tomorrow she'll do it again, teaching anyone willing to learn that greatness isn't measured in medals but in the quiet moments when you choose wisdom over pride. And now, every Tuesday at dawn, she'll help Emma Rodriguez become the pilot her father would have been proud of. The sky remembers all its children, and sometimes, if you're very lucky, it gives you the chance to make things right.
Thank you for spending your precious time with me today. Remember, dreams only work if you do, and every ending is just the start of your next chapter. Stay humble, stay kind, and never stop chasing the life you deserve. Small steps today will lead to giant leaps tomorrow, so don't just watch the change, be the change. Your story matters, so make it worth telling. Until we meet again in the next video, keep shining and keep inspiring the world around you. If you like my video, please give me like and subscribe for our motivation.